Hello out there, you wonderful people. This is Andre, the Game Idea Guy. Thank you once again for lending me your time and your ear listening to another Gamer's Thoughts discussion. And this one's going to be a follow-up to the other one where I questioned, should Nintendo consider putting their games on third-party platforms to them or other platforms? And people are probably going to be like, well, we know Andre, we know which direction he's going to go with this. Obviously, you don't. Because, like Nintendo, I don't tend to always be predictable. So, with this, I'm going to say something that everybody's now knowing what I'm going to say. And the answer is yes. But as I said in the other video where I talked about it before, if they're going to do it, PC is where they should go. Not to Xbox, not to PlayStation, PC. I mean, PC is basically home to everything anyhow, and people do pirate and or just emulate their games from Nintendo on their PCs anyway. So why not give them the option to skip the middleman and go right to the source and get the stuff themselves? And somebody's going to be like, well, what do you mean by right to the source? I mean exactly what I'm saying, right to the source. See, a sneaky Nintendo could do it this way. They make their own PC client that works for both Windows and Linux that allows you to play their mobile games, which Google Play is already going to be doing that anyhow. So Nintendo can capitalize on that, add their own games to their own PC client from their mobile selection, maybe even bring back some that they're canceling out or have canceled, like Miitomo and Dragalia Lost. Because both of those would be decent choices for a PC client anyway. On top of that, they could give the people that are playing on the PC client, give them the same options and choices to get all of the Nintendo Switch Online retro content the same way. So, I mean, maybe it would have to be cheaper because you're not paying for the online services of the console, but you are paying for the games, which could be a boon, could make them a little bit extra money. And on top of that, they could, start releasing stuff more rapidly because they're getting more money in. Because people think that it's just not happening just because of licensing. And we're like, no, it's also a money thing too. They have to have the money to pay a bunch of people to get this done. And if they can pay for more people to do it, this stuff will happen faster, which means that they can divide up into more teams and potentially have more of those teams working on this as a project specifically. Again, just something that could be considered. And on top of that, that means that they could re-release their first-party games inside of that client, going against what I said before about using something like Good Old Games or Steam, which are already established. Or they can even still use those, but they use their client as the main source, and maybe you get a cheaper pricing on their client than you do on a third-party client. Again, something that would be considered. And I think that people overlook that is a potential possibility. That Nintendo could go ahead and do their own client. I mean, why not? You can already make your Mii or edit your Mii on their website. So why not make a client that will just allow you to do the exact same thing and give you all of the benefits of My Nintendo, as well as having the games available on it. They could literally even call the client My Nintendo, where it could be a downloadable client from their website for your PC that allows you to play the games on there. Now, if they're still working through things with Microsoft, the way that a lot of people have speculated that they are, because they're supposed to be moving over to Azure pretty soon, then they could also work with Microsoft to do the exact same thing that Microsoft is doing with xCloud and Game Pass right now. And that is to allow their stuff to be played via streaming to a client on mobile as well as on PC. Again, just something to consider, and something for their home consoles. So that way, if is interested in playing a game, testing it out, or say a demo of a game is being released, instead of purchasing the demo, downloading the demo, you can just stream it. Not removing the option to download the demo, but just so that you don't have to and it doesn't take up space. Because some people forget to delete their demos. I know I was one of those people. Again, these are just options. I'm not expecting them to go the full Game Pass route because Nintendo does want to make money off of their IP. And while Game Pass is a great way to rent something and then make a purchase, it doesn't exactly help sales if all of your first party stuff is on there. But what they could do through that, along with putting the stuff on PC, and if you have Nintendo Switch Online, whichever version of it that you get, it allows you to have discounts, which I think they do sometimes. I just don't know, can't confirm. Someone else can confirm for me in the comments somewhere. I just personally can't confirm it myself. And with whatever way they're evolving the Nintendo Switch OS, they can make their PC client operate almost identically to the OS, and then allow you to, even if you're not purchasing the games on PC, purchase them for your console. And then when the PC release comes out, give you a discount on the PC release of the game if you already have the console version of it. Again, these are things they could do. These are things that I would be the one in a boardroom talking to the heads and saying this would be a good idea. Now, whether or not they think it's a good idea is a whole other thing, and they probably look at me strange as this guy that's a YouTuber telling them that, hey, this is good for your business. If they look over my videos, they might think it's a good idea. After a while, they look at my videos and say, oh, hold on. He said these things before we announced them. Maybe he does think along our lines. Potentially. I doubt that that's how they would act. They probably look at me as just like, okay, there's this strange American in our office telling us that these are good things and that we should do them, and we have no idea who the hell he is. But honestly, I just think it would, in the overall, be cool. And it would be a way to get the content out to people. And I know, yes, there are still going to be people who pirate anyway. There's nothing you can do about them. If they're going to do it, they're going to do it. But if you give the option to people who are willing to make the purchases without pirating, then you are at least opening up to the fact that, hey, maybe people want to be able to have this content available to them. And if they're playing the games that you make, that means that they'll likely buy your accessories to get the full use of the game. Because if all of your games work well with your controller, and we know that Switch controllers and Pro controllers work with PCs, I think you're doing yourself a favor at that point. Again, just something to consider and something that I think is viable. And as a gamer, if I'm looking at more ways for them to expand and make more money, especially with them opening up all of they're opening up their video production studio and stuff like that, which I'm somehow forgetting the name, is as generic as it is. But it would be good. I think it would be honestly really good, and it would be the best way to move their content over to a potential other platform if they were going to do it. Because I don't think that they're fully done with mobile. I really truly don't think they're fully done with mobile. What I think honestly is that they're trying to find ways to expand into mobile with their current content. And I got to get back on the videos I was doing for that. Hopefully, I'll be able to do that within the next couple of weeks. It's not that I don't have the ideas, it's just that I haven't sat down and just recorded them. But I'm pretty much done with this discussion. If you guys have anything that you'd like to say, please go ahead and add it down in the comments. Or make a reply comment on Anchor if you're listening there. Thank you guys very much for listening in. Keep your eyes and ears out for more stuff from me. And until the next time, enjoy your games and peace out. Okay, I forgot to add this into that video, but at the end of it, I meant to say that I will be editing how I run these discussions or put them up on YouTube at least. So for future discussions after this one that are going to be a gamer's thoughts, I am going to drop the AGT titling from it, mostly because I'm trying to see how well this works with the algorithm, and plus somebody had already brought it up to me anyway in the comments. You know who you are. Cars floating by. Sorry about that, pausing for a second. It's mostly just to try things out and see how it does, because it may or may not be hurting the titling of my videos. Now I'm still going to put the Gamer's Thoughts hashtag in the description so it'll pop up, but I'm just going to do that from now on. So if it's a subject, I'm just going to title it the subject on YouTube. Now Anchor, I'm still going to have AGT and then the title of the discussion. Peace out.